Hi everyone, welcome to our webinar. It's been a bit of a confusing day for us all, so we do apologise about the time differences. It's something that has caused some confusion, but if you're unable to join live, we'll be delighted to ensure that you get the recording as well. I think it's just one of those things. We've got different people in different time zones, and the US has changed and the rest of us haven't quite changed yet to summertime. Anyway, it's wonderful to see you here. We've got a brilliant webinar lined up for you. Some of you might have heard about the AR app already. We did have a rather small whisper of a launch, but now it's time to shout it loud. And first of all, who have we got in the chat today? Well, we have Kyla. Hi, Kyla. How are you?
Hi, I'm really well, thanks, Louise. Ready to answer any questions that get thrown at the chat. So
great. So, and you can put those on the screen so we can see who's asking the questions. And also, Ivan's going to be in the chat as well, but he's doing it from the YouTube end, so he'll be able to answer any questions. We've got people from Mexico, we've got people from London, we've got people from Washington, Ohio, all over. So we're delighted to see so many of you here. I am also delighted to be joined today by Patryk and Sarah. Hi, both of you. How are you doing? Patryk, first, you're in Finland.
Yes, greetings to everyone. Hi, I'm really excited to join this webinar today. I am connecting from Kuopio, Finland, up north, so still winter here.
Still winter. Have you got much snow there?
Plenty, but it starts melting slowly but surely. We are waiting for the spring.
Waiting for the spring. And I see we have quite a few people from Finland joining us as well. We've got hello from Marit, and we've got people from Scotland who are also wishing it is springtime soon. But we're also joined by Sarah from Ohio State University. Hi, Sarah. How are you?
Doing really well. Thank you so much for having me today.
Oh, we're just over the moon because we see you so much. You've been a lot in our webinars before, and you won one of our prizes in a previous webinar.
It's true, I did. I happened to be capitalizing on that prize using Skybox with ThingLink. Couldn't be happier to be using that as a part of the tool as well.
That's amazing. So, Patryk, you have a very long career in the environmental engineering science. You've got hold a PhD. You're a former assistant professor, and you're now a research manager at Savonia University. We can't wait to hear more about your case study. So, yeah, we'll hear all the background and all about the uses, and we've got some short videos of that in action. And Sarah, you're an instructional designer at Ohio State University, and you've been there a long time as well, haven't you?
I've been at the university since 2016, but serving in my current capacity since about 2021.
Wow. Well, it's going to be really cool to hear about your use case too. So we've got a use case which is actually from education, and a use case that comes from the kind of enterprise and engineering sector. So we'll have a look at those. But first of all, let's just have a look, because there's a few people who are joining us today that maybe don't know a lot about ThingLink. So just to give you a little bit of background, and I find this really fascinating because I've been with ThingLink for 5 years now, and in the short time that I've been there, ThingLink has just grown so much. We've got new products, we've got new features, but actually when you go back and look at Ulla's original vision. This is Ulla Maria Koivula, our founder and CEO of ThingLink, and she was actually so far ahead of her time. What she wanted to do was to create something that connected physical and digital worlds, as you can see there on the slide, but to transform anything into an interface for learning. So up until now, that's been with digital objects. So creating those interactive images, videos, 360 videos. But now, of course, we've got a whole new tool in our tool set, which is about creating an interface for learning with everyday objects around us. And that's exactly what we're going to be looking at. But yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see what develops as well with AI in the future. And ThingLink, as I mentioned, is 13 years old, so it's really kind of grown. I think in 2019 we started branching out into the e-learning or employee training world, but yes, 300 million learners annually, over 10 million content creators, and we're used heavily in education, and that's right the way through from pre-K to universities and higher education and vocational workplaces. In e-learning, as you'll hear from Patryk, where it can be used not only for learning. I think, Patryk, you've made this point before, and that we focus here on learning, but actually it's everyday use, isn't it? It's kind of like making a process manual come to life. So it might not just be about a kind of learning that you might do as you might think traditionally about learning, but also having that handy reference tool as well.
Yeah, it's like a field support. So I think that's the staff needs this kind of they need to fall back to procedures or to the paths which they have to repeat every day very strictly. So I think that we can open up a little bit more later about that, but that's really important.
Yeah. And communications as well. And it's really interesting when you think about a university, or even a school community, you might use it for learners, and learners might create with ThingLink, but then the same applies in industry as well and in the workplace, because people can use it for learning, or as Patryk suggests, for content manuals, processes, but you can also use it for people to create as well. And they can create a kind of culture of innovation if you've got employees using it as well. And then, of course, it could be used for communications out with the school or the workplace. So, Sarah, using it with parents and carers and people that are coming in to view your exhibitions as well. And I think you're going to demonstrate that so beautifully.
Yeah, I mean, it really was a game changer for us, for the exhibition that we worked with, being one that featured the work of disabled artists primarily. We heard from the curator that some of these artists can't actually come out physically and see their work on display in these exhibitions. So it opened up that opportunity for them to see the space where their art is being displayed, which was really monumental.
And yeah, we're going to go right into have a look at how you created it and see it in action with the AR app as well. I think it's also helpful to think about the challenges that we hear so often. And in the case study that you did with us, Patryk, you really emphasize these points, that learning is not linked to real life. Sometimes it can be really disconnected. Traditional training methods sometimes are not really helpful when you're thinking about doing things and practicing things and skills-based learning. But if we're just kind of using souped-up PowerPoints and PDFs, that doesn't really give people the opportunity to do that. Another reason that really came out from the research that we've been doing, and also from the case studies, and I think you highlight this again, Patryk, is that sometimes you have new staff come in, sometimes you end up having to retrain new people, or you lose expertise because people leave the organization. So having changing staff and setting up training on site can be not only really expensive, but it can be really hard to train everyone well. And I think you really emphasize this in your case study.
Yeah, I can add on top of that. I just returned from the meetings where I've been scouting for the use case with the ThingLink solution at the water utility, and I have met with the actual staffers, those who are doing those ground works, and they told me about one more thing. Because of they need to be flexible, they need to sometimes rotate there are some, let's say, teams which are specialized in doing certain procedures. But sometimes, because of many reasons, it's very dynamic. You have some emergency. They need to rotate. So other team has to do the same work. And then they were saying to me that would be fantastic if they can actually follow exactly the same procedures we do, so that we keep the quality. And of course, in water sector or at the water utility, actually a mistake might be a little bit or a lot of costly, or it will cost time or some disturbance to us, to customers. So it's a mission critical situation. In that case, it's good to have, again, a tool that could support them.
And yeah, being able to change things on the go as well. And the link still stays the same because things just move on so quickly as well. At least you know that you can change out backgrounds or you can update tags quite easily. And for those of you who are joining us today that haven't seen ThingLink before, this is just a really nice example where you can see that this has all been done with a mobile phone. Somebody here has used an app to take a scan for a 3D object, but they've also been able to embed the hotspots. So you can take any type of media, upload it. So maybe you could use your phone to take a 360 image, which we then convert into a photosphere. And the nice thing about this is that some people don't want to use a 360 camera, so they link 360 images together. And if you just saw that there, you can see that we've got translation features now built in. So you can translate the language of every single tag just with one click. So that was just a little view there into what ThingLink looks like. And we have focused here on another kind of use case. Yes, you can upload 3D objects. Someone's just asking the question there. Yeah, so you could use another app like Polycam or something like that, or you could get 3D models from Sketchfab and you can upload those into your tags as well, or use as base media to add your tags to as well. There we go. So that was just a quick preview there of the ThingLink multimedia editor that you saw. And now, as ThingLink is 13 years old, as we've mentioned, we've got a whole suite here, which is a composite solution that means that you can transform your existing learning materials into immersive experiences with that multimodal kind of feel. And then you can share your way, whether you want to put it into your learning management system or if you just want to share it out by link. But there you can see we've got our suite of tools. You can mix and match your ThingLinks to create scenarios or branching adventure, pick your own path style experiences, guided tours there, and we have also introduced our own AI features. So this is only just going to get yes, oh, really good to see all the comments. People are really impressed by some. Here's El Michelle saying, oh, big wow. And if you're really eagle-eyed, you'll see here in the corner that there's something called ThingLink Spaces, and that is a nod to what might be coming next with headsets as well. So that's very exciting to look at. So now onto our ThingLink Augmented Reality Viewer app. I'm just going to show you how easy it is to use it as well. And Ulla has kindly sent a little video so you can see a little bit from Ulla's perspective.
Hello, we're today at the Helsinki City Museum, which is, by the way, the most popular museum in Helsinki. We're here to try ThingLink's new AR app and show you how it works. Earlier today, we were here to take photos of some of the work, and we also measured their approximate dimensions. Next, on ThingLink, we added a couple of hotspots on select pieces at the exhibition. Now we're going to see how it works. So we at ThingLink built easy-to-use tools for creating interactive learning experiences in both digital and physical environments. If you want to try out our new AR app, make sure to sign up at thinglink.com.
Amazing. So I thought it'd be really cool now just to go into my ThingLink account. So here I am in my ThingLink account. And when you go to the home page, you can see that suite of tools that I mentioned there. So you can see here, you've got a section on the AR app, guided tours, and we haven't actually got the examples yet for the AR app, but they will be coming, I'm sure. And in my ThingLink account, I've got a folder here. This is the main multimedia editor. And you can see here that I've actually taken a picture. I'm actually just going to, if it's all right, I'm just going to make this a little bit bigger and remove Patryk and Sarah from the screen and make this nice and big so you can see it. So this picture here is actually on my wall behind me. And I took a picture of it and thought it'd be quite fun to turn it into an AR experience. So I've just added a few little tags here. Here's
hi there. I'm
little AI character speaking, and then some information about Alphonse Mucha. And then in my account here, you can see I've got this new AR tab feature. This is for school accounts and university accounts and our team or e-learning accounts. And if I click on the AR tab, you can see here that I've got these collections that you can make. And it's super easy to create a new collection. So I'll just click the create button and I'll just create this one as test example and click create. And then you're able to add your ThingLink scenes into this now to create your collection for your AR experiences. And this is exactly what Sarah did. And she's going to show you how this works in practice. So here I'm going to add a scene to my collection for AR. And I have my folder that I'd already created. And here you can see that I've got that Alphonse Mucha one. And it asks you to put in centimeters. So it's handy to have a tape measure to put in the dimensions. You only need one dimension and it doesn't need to be really precise, just a rough centimeters. And then you can carry on adding your scenes that way. I've actually got a water cycle that I created on our previous webinar with Adobe Express. So here I've got my collection ready to go. And by clicking the three dots above, you can see that I can add further scenes. And here I can actually get a short code, or I can use a QR code. So I thought it'd be quite funny just to do this in real life. I know live demonstrations are like taking your life in your hands. So on my iPad here, I have the ThingLink AR App Viewer app, and you can get this on iOS and Android. And you simply have a very clean interface, and you can put in the short code, or you can use the QR code. So I'm going to use the QR code, and now you can see that it's come up with that collection. I now only have to click the start button, and I'm just going to put me back on there and then hold it over the object. And I'm looking around to detect the images, and there we have it. It's come up with all of the tags. And here we have the talking tags that I had on there. So it really is as simple as that. It's super easy to use. I'm just going to bring Patryk and Sarah back on. Did I do it justice? Because you guys are pros in making it. How was that process for you? Did you find it quite easy? I'll ask Patryk first.
Yeah, definitely. The viewers previously have seen some of the cases that was done in water laboratory, the water lab where I work in Kuopio. And it's we've been testing AR with the previous generations with the Microsoft HoloLens. We were trying to build the applications, and the biggest obstacle actually was the ease to build new content. It was, of course, there was the quite steep learning curve with the glasses itself. We actually had the Microsoft HoloLens XR 10 version, which is like a hard hat mounted. So we were really keen on going forward, and we were just not proceeding as I was saying. And then, of course, when I have met the team of ThingLink, we were able to put up much more content in relatively short time. We talk about minutes here, and our session is like really ages what we have done previously. Definitely, I agree.
And Sarah, thanks, Patryk. And Sarah, did I do it justice? Is it really that easy?
Yes, it's incredibly easy. It's very intuitive. The biggest roadblock for me was user error in that I think that the measurements need to be in metric, and I measured everything in inches to start. So I had to go back and readjust all of those and convert to make sure I was as close as I could be, but that was my fault. So, I mean, it was very easy. Like Patryk mentioned, it kind of happened in minutes, taking the pictures of the images and then loading them up and putting the tags on. It was a very quick turnaround. It was a really great experience to be able to do it that way.
Excellent. So now I think we should dive into, Patryk, your use case and show people what you've been doing at Savonia. So I'm just going to go back and share my screen and put that back on. And there we go. And Sarah, will come back to you shortly. Right. So Patryk, your case study. So we've just put the link in the chat for everybody, but you'll also get it. If you get the slides, you can see that you can click on the Water Lab case study and to see it in action. And this is the university. It's huge. It looks very, very modern, Patryk.
Yes, of course. We are renting only small part of it, but it's still we are surrounded by more than 150 companies, innovative ones. In this is a Savilahti actually. This is the Clay Bay direct translation. So we are overlooking by a little bit of water. It's a quite hilly and quite nice area in Kuopio. And that's where the Water Lab is situated, and that's where we have the play field, as I like to call it, a sandbox. And of course, I'm leading Smart Water group. So in Smart Water, we are trying to bring all those digitalization tools that are mainstream to the water sector. Of course, not only water utility, not only those, but there's also water-intensive industries, which we try to make sure that they are using less and less resources to operate. And of course, AR, along with AI, or in more particular, machine vision and machine learning, that is on our focus as a Smart Water group, of course. We are operating in an environmental engineering field here. We are, of course, also the second. Our specialization is on zero emission industries, right. But that's we can put it aside. Today we are mostly focused on our augmented or extended reality applications.
And you're part of a network, aren't you? So you're developing this research, so you can share it with the water. It's called SWAN, I think.
It's actually Kuopio Water Cluster. We are part of the Kuopio Water Cluster. We are members of SWAN. SWAN is a Smart Water Network Forum. This is a global forum for innovative companies and water utilities. So this is the best platform to spread different news or new gadgets, as I will call it, or new innovations. Water sector is quite conservative, and that's not a disadvantage. They have to tread very carefully because they are in operational mission critical, so they cannot move that fast. But in SWAN, all the members are very keen. They are like ambassadors, or they are trying to pre-test, so that the other less bold members can follow up when they see this. Also is a very, everyone is it's a team. So it's a good cooperation.
And it sounds like, yeah, you're really learning from each other. It sounds like a real community where some people are naturally going to try new things, but if you can share that with the rest of the community and save people maybe who don't have the money to do the research or the investment to find new ways of doing things. So shall we take a look at
Yes, please.
Patryk's video? So here's the first one. So here, someone's just using that to see all of the ways to...
Yeah, that's actually Olli Torvinen, our technician who is working at the water lab. So what he's now doing, he's observing the procedure for the maintenance of one of our monitoring, or this is like a water quality monitoring station that we have connected to our water loop with the testing loop in the water lab. And that's where we have seen the advantage for that, because there are manuals, but we are also building a quite large library, I would call it, of know-how. There are some tips and tricks which we collect throughout the time that we operate. We learn on our own mistakes, so sometimes our procedures need to be updated. And with ThingLink, I was one of the advantages I see it is this centralized system, meaning that when I make changes to the master, then every new connection will have this new updated. So the platform plays an important role for us. And of course, we discussed it before, the ease to add. We need to add a lot of video content, because nothing beats like a video showing manually how to do it in the real environment. And of course, if this could be augmented, so you can exactly tell, okay, this valve and all this pump needs to be turned on, turned off. This is really crucial, and this is very costly, expensive equipment. And that's also something that we need to take into. Of course, for us, the system works 24/7 the whole year.
Yeah.
So we need to keep the system running all the time.
Yeah, completely essential to have those processes. Yeah, because it must be one of the most important utility treatments and processes that you can just imagine.
Yeah, that's why we cooperate with ThingLink, because the water lab is actually a scaled down version of the real system, but so intense.
Yeah.
It's a representative to many different water utilities. So you can draw up different examples just in one relatively small space. So this allows us to, of course, then you can scale it up. That's not really a problem. Here we just try to, of course, with ThingLink to test new possibilities, but we are also using it internally. So we are building our own library. And I mentioned before, and I say it again, that's also important in our situation. We are a small team, and in many cases we are forced to rotate, meaning that when Olli is not available, then the other, or even a student, will have to fill in and do the same job. With this, I'm not afraid that this expensive equipment is going to be malfunctioning. Of course, the errors are happening. Then we can update our procedures if this error truly happened.
And it's learning by doing, isn't it? And people are actually, have that as an aide-memoire as well, don't they? They have that as a backup as well if they forget. So it's, the more you do it, the more you're going to know it instantaneously, but you can't take that risk, can you, if you've got new people coming into work?
Exactly. And it's also bring this kind of, you can call it a gamification of the use, but I think that in how I see it, the others are looking that the smartphone is actually useful for different things that we used to use it. So this is also something that's important. Of course, in Water Lab we experiment both with the phone, so the small factor, but also, as you were showing it, on an iPad 11-inch, 13-inch. VR glasses, XR glasses, just to see how this goes. But in water sector, as of today, I think that the use of the smartphone is the most convenient one. Everyone has it in the pocket.
Convenient.
So, yeah.
There's some really nice comments coming through. Congratulations. I see great potential for healthcare education and assessment, which is just great to hear. Someone's asking a technical question about the camera. So yeah, I mean, I just took the pictures with my normal Pixel phone. I've got a Pixel phone. I have actually got an iPhone here as well, but I just, you know, it doesn't need to be any particular quality. I think you just took those with a mobile phone.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is really... So I guess one of the other things which is quite funny to think about as well, that's inside, but what about outside and here?
Yes, that's actually me on the mission. That's so we are now outside of the laboratory, still within the, as we see it in the picture. I am inside of the monitoring well, and I'm using this. It's approximately -15 outside, lots of snow. I'm wearing the work gloves. I'm using the small factor, so the phone. And now I'm going on with the procedure with the other device, which is installed on the real water network. So we have left the cozy and warm laboratory environment. Now we are in the real world, where we would like to also see if this will actually replicate, if we can follow the same procedure.
Amazing.
And of course, it works. So in that case, there was also I see the question about the education. Of course, we are also, our mission as a university is to educate, and especially now that like a distance learning or this e-learning, we see of course a huge potential for that. And I'm proceeding with actually virtualizing the access to the water lab. So this will allow this. Of course, we now go into really more advanced, like a two-way communication, showing the only data. We work with on that with ThingLink. Actually, ThingLink is also cooperating with other Finnish company on digital twin. I'm not sure who is in the audience, but for some of this will ring the bell. Digital twin is now really hot as AI or XR AR. So in that sense, this technology is actually a neighbor, and ThingLink solution is really useful for that.
Thank you, Patryk. You're going to stay on the call anyway, aren't you? Because we want to go and hear about an education use case now, which is at Ohio State University. But we'd love if you can come back afterwards, and we'll see if there's any other questions that arise. Sure. But thank you so much, Patryk, for giving us that great overview. And hi, Sarah, how are you? Have you been enjoying that? It's really great to see it in a different kind of light, isn't it?
It really is. I've been kind of commenting feverishly with one of my coworkers who's also on the webinar today about how it is that the more three-dimensional objects are being recognized, because that's something that we have been dying to experiment with some of the museum spaces on campus.
So should we have a little look? Because we've got a lovely video as well, just a short one, which, and obviously your case study is linked in this slide as well. And I think Kyla will put it in the chat, but here is this lovely video. That's just amazing. It's just absolutely fantastic. We'd love to hear more about it. How did it all come about, Sarah?
This came about based on a conversation that I had with several other of my colleagues and constituents at Ohio State around kind of a hosting of a community of inquiry of sorts for bringing in the voices of disabled artists. And this was something that was already kind of coming to the university and going to be a part of the Barnett Center, which is one of our gallery and collaboratory spaces on campus. And I pitched the idea of creating a virtual tour to create more impact and more sharing to communities that either couldn't come to campus physically or might want to preview the exhibition before they came. But around that time, we attended a webinar where we heard about the launch of the AR app, and we're very, very excited about this. So I thought, why not give this a try and see if we can't incorporate this in this experience as well, especially since many of the pieces were very, very well suited to the AR recognition and the early stages of development for the AR app. So we're most excited by the potential to increase accessibility, just generally speaking, for usage on like the mobile device, where some of the content cards might include text that's too small to see in person, but people coming and being able to interact with the art was a really big, I guess, kind of advantage for us.
Yeah.
It allowed us to increase the accessibility, and digital accessibility especially, but accessibility overall is very important, I know, to a lot of universities. And after seeing this, I can report our ADA coordinator, who I don't get to interact with very much, was thrilled and was very excited and encouraged by the multiple layers of accessibility that come in and that were built into the experience and that we're paying special attention to. So it was an all-around win for us.
Someone's just leaving a really nice comment there saying they teach in a school where students learn nursing, and how great would it be for them to practice those scenarios at the same time, which is just, yeah, absolutely phenomenal. And for those of you who don't know ThingLink and you're just joining us for the first time, so ThingLink has a number of accessibility tools that's built into the tags. So I guess, you know, there isn't just one solution. There's lots of ways in which you can share that content. So you might have the AR experience, but you've also got the original ThingLink. So you can share that, and it's got immersive reader built into the tags. You can open it up as a web view and use your screen readers or assistive technology as well. So yeah, I think it's just a really nice way that you'll be introducing so many different layers of accessibility there as well.
We think of accessibility very broadly, and in terms of kind of the international community that we have at Ohio State, we have a lot of students that are, you know, English as second language learners, and the translation capability in ThingLink, you know, as an international company who's already thinking about this, has been a real another real benefit to us, to have that kind of baked in. It's something that we would ordinarily do, but it's just made so much easier by ThingLink as a tool.
Do you know, I'm just going to share this. This is a bit of a kind of something that came up this week, but I saw that someone had shared a poster on LinkedIn. I actually know Abid. He's a really long-standing member of the network of people that I share, you know, with our ideas around education technology. And he shared this poster, which is great because he really wanted everyone to understand Ramadan and he had some key facts. So I said, Abid, would you mind if I turn that into a ThingLink? So here, all I did was just put the text into the tags, and this has immersive reader built into it as well. Those of you who don't know immersive reader, it's where you can translate the text and have text to speech.
Ramadan.
That's built in there, but also and have different legibility options. There's also a way in which you can turn that into a web view with additional accessibility options. But also we've introduced now a new translate feature. When you click on the translate feature, you can select whatever language you want this to be translated into, and all the text in there is translated in one go. And I did show that at the outset. on that short video there, but it really is something to explore if you're, you know, wanting to take your existing training content, your existing lesson ideas, whether that's images or 360 or videos, and then make them interactive and immersive. So I'm really glad to hear that, Sarah.
Yeah, it's incredible. You know, the rise of AI has also given great tools for translation and second language learning and things of that nature. But this, you know, this adds another layer for instructors, especially at our university, who have, you know, students in their classrooms from multiple different backgrounds who need the ability to kind of digest their primary learning materials in their dominant language. And I think that it's so important that this is something that we can already kind of provide and say that is available.
And have you had any feedback from people? Have they been able to give some feedback to you about the accessible experience?
All of the feedback has been overwhelmingly positive, especially from the artists involved in the exhibition and the curators of the event, but also from the director of the Barnett, who was very excited and hadn't been able to take part in something like, you know, the collaboratory is open for exhibitions all the time, but this was a kind of new movement for that. So just overwhelmingly positive feedback from everyone who experienced it, especially from a distance using the virtual tour. I know that we're focusing on the AR app, but I loved all the elements of it.
And you did touch on that very quickly earlier on, but there's also an escape room which you've been working on. I'd love to just hear a little bit more about that.
I can't claim too much authority there. I've been working in partnership primarily with my colleague, Jessica Henderson, who's on this call. She's on the webinar, but she has been hard at work, and we've been kind of developing together using Skybox for 360 image generation, but also using tools like 11 Labs for text-to-speech kind of accent and variety and different language variation. And, you know, we're using a combination of other tools as well to create this really lovely, immersive escape room experience that is kind of meant to build a learning bridge from like the subject matter, the primary subject matter, to the eventual assessment, giving lots and lots of low stakes ways to digest material and to interact with their learning and tune back in and work together with their classmates. And this is all kind of built for an asynchronous classroom environment.
And because on the last webinar, which we did with Adobe Express, we made a little water cycle, and I printed it out to see if it would work with the AR app, and it works beautifully.
Amazing.
And I was thinking, can you imagine if you have got, you know, access to a printer? Not everyone has access to a printer, but you could create ThingLinks or take pictures actually of areas in the classroom, and then turn them into AR. You could build an actual escape room in, you know, like a scavenger hunt escape room in the classroom or in the school or anywhere, and make that really, really fun and interactive. So you can mix and match everything together, couldn't you?
Yes, and we've had a lot of fun doing that. We love to experiment in our neck of the woods, and it's, you know, we've had a ton of fun trying to put different tools together. Of course, ThingLink kind of absorbs everything in such a beautiful way. We often use other tools like H5P or some of the Microsoft tools that we have at Ohio State, and they embed just beautifully.
So you can mix and match and put maybe access to another image or something. I think that's really important, because the tools that you're mentioning are actually only accessible to people in your organization as well, aren't they?
Right. And that's important to Ohio State for data security and privacy, student and instructor privacy. So it allows us to kind of keep everything under the thumb of the institution without risking that students are signing up for something that they didn't mean to.
And I think Jessica's just commented, I love that idea, Louise. You've given me some new ideas to run with as well. And somebody else is just commenting there as well. Do you have to purchase a license? And generally speaking, yes, it is part of a school account or a university account, but if anybody wants to try and have a go with AR, of course, we'd love to hear from you. You know, we really welcome people having access to tools if they want to try them out or have ideas and share them with the community. I'm just going to bring Patryk back on now as well. Patryk, we were just saying about other ideas. I mean, you must be full of ideas as well for the kinds of things that you can do, not just in the water industry, but just for learning in general.
Yeah, definitely. Many, well, I think that the health sector is very potential. I'm still orientated, as you can see, on engineering fields, but for everyday life, even, of course, I don't know what's the licensing situation here for the parents, actually, to show the kids that the smartphones are not only for TikToks or YouTube, and then they can actually scavenger hunts just for them. I could imagine that this could really be a nice application.
And many schools, I know that many schools have a kind of device mix. So they might have one-to-one Chromebooks or iPads, but they do generally have access to maybe phones, maybe not students, but for teachers, but they might have some other apps, iPad apps, or, you know, Android tablets that they could use. And I haven't tried it on the Chrome OS tablet. That'd be something to try as well, to see if that works. But yes,
kids would be very happy if they can bring their smartphones to school. Bring your own smartphone. That would be a win over for them.
Yeah, there's lots of really nice comments coming through. People are just really congratulating you on all of the fantastic work that you've been doing. I'm just going to share my screen now because I've got a couple more points that I really want to mention as well. Let me just go on to this one. So we just mentioned there that I was going to put my screen back on now. So you've had a lovely opportunity to see it in action, and we've also made a YouTube playlist which you'll get in the email that you'll get straight after here, depending on time zones. Again, apologies to anyone who's got a different time zone. It's been a source of confusion for me today, but we would love your feedback, your ideas, your suggestions. And Ivan, who you've probably seen on some of our other webinars, he is absolutely a treasure trove of support for our ThingLink community. And if anyone ever has any problems or they want to ask, do reach out to our support team that Ivan heads up, because they show so much love and care to everybody. But we also really want your feedback, suggestions on how, you know, we could take the AR app even further. Also linked on this slide, you'll see when you click on the learn more, it will take you to Ivan's support page, which has step-by-step instructions of how to use the AR app. So yeah, that's linked in the deck for you there as well. So I think it's coming to that time in the webinar where I like to share just a little bit of information about what's happening in the world of ThingLink, and also some webinars which will be coming up. And please do keep the questions coming. There's some really great ideas that are coming through on the chat there. So what do we have coming up for you? Well, first of all, I've got some team news. I'm absolutely delighted to say we have a new team member, Andreas, and he is based in Finland, but he also speaks German, and he's going to be looking after our German community, and he's going to be helping any German companies, schools, organizations with helping to get go with ThingLink as well. This is not quite public yet, but we started a ThingLink Facebook group yesterday for ThingLink Germany. And we would love, you know, if there is anybody who speaks German or is in Germany and wants to be a founder of our community, we would love you to reach out. So please do reach out to Andreas at thinglink.com. He'll be delighted to hear from you. And what have we got coming up next in the webinar? So next week, on the 20th of March, we'll make sure we get the time zones right again. We're going to be joined by the quizmaster himself, John Neal, who works for Quizzes. If anyone's not heard of Quizzes, it's a way for you to use AI to take a picture of text or maybe a PDF or something like that, and it can turn it into quizzes. And it's all kinds of different quizzes which you can drag and drop for higher order thinking, or there's simple questions, but you can actually embed quizzes into a ThingLink tag. And Quizzes also has a lesson sort of structure, so you can create a lesson and then give your students a code, and they can join in and start doing the quizzes. And there's lots of like little adventures there as well, and you can embed ThingLink into Quizzes lessons. So we're going to be looking at that in depth. So we'd love for you all to join us on the Quizzes webinar. Then on the 17th of April, we're going to be joined by Dr. Fiona Aubrey-Smith. And Dr. Fiona Aubrey-Smith is the co-author of this book, which is From EdTech to PedTech. If you've not heard of it, this is making a real impact in the education technology community globally. Fiona has actually carried out a study of a school. She spent a year there and had a great kind of triangulation of evidence from parents, teachers, students themselves, and everyone working in the community. And it was incredibly positive about the use of technology when technology is combined with a pedagogical mindset. So she calls this PedTech. And that study, which took place, it was called Leo Academy Trust. It wasn't just one school, it was the Academy Trust. ThingLink was one of their most loved apps. And they found that there was a real impact with immersive learning created with ThingLink when you underpin that with that pedagogical mindset. So she's going to be telling us all about that, which I'm super excited about. And Sarah, I'm sure that's one that you and your colleagues would love. And Patryk, there's something there for everybody as well, because I think we're seeing now, you've mentioned like gamified learning, learning experiences. We're seeing escape rooms created in nursing. That there's not really much of a divide now between pedagogy and andragogy, which is, adult learning, because of the rise in technology. So there's definitely something there for everybody. And after that, on the 8th of May, this is an exclusive. I've not shared this anywhere yet, but we are launching our own ThingLink certified trainer program. And this trainer status that we are going to certify with some of our ThingLink community is a real way of us being able to showcase what other people are doing, their passion projects, their ideas, but also it's a way for people to be able to have that certification. And we'll also be creating our own community for those trainers, and lots more news about that. Otherwise, I shall take up the rest of the time of this webinar. So you are more than welcome to come along and join that one as well. All the links are in the webinar slides when you get them. So I don't have much more to say. That's all of my ThingLink news. So back to the team. Kyla, I'm going to bring you back on there as well, because you've been looking at all the questions. There's just some amazing comments coming through there on the chat. I think you're on mute.
Yeah, sorry about that. A lot of positivity, but I have to say kudos to Ivan, who's also been here in the chat with me. Faster fingers than me, answering all the technical questions. So thank you, Ivan, getting to stuff before me. Yeah, so much happiness about this AR app and so many applications for it. It's great.
Yes, and other great comments coming back in as well. How great. People are saying about the quizzes, awesome app smash. We've got someone from Aberdeenshire in Scotland saying thank you to you all for such a great session. I mean, from us, the whole ThingLink team, it's such a joy for us to see these ideas come to fruition and see them, you know, in action. And we wouldn't be able to have webinars like this if it wasn't for the fact that, you know, you're willing to come on and share your stories and be case studies. So, you know, from all of our team here, a huge thank you for being part of our webinar. Are there any last thoughts before we close it?
I would say that I was impressed how quickly ThingLink could get from, I would say, 0 to hero in water sector. It was counted in months. We were together in one big trade fair in Amsterdam and Aquatech, and the situation exploded. So I was observing a little bit the comments that it's really, this solution is going to take over the world. I'm pretty much sure that it is really now the best available in the market. So yeah, fingers crossed.
Thank you, Patryk. That's a lovely way to close. Sarah, is there any last parting thoughts?
I will say that, you know, I think that, you know, people on the webinar may not believe you when you say how wonderful the customer support is, because you work for the company and you probably, they think you have to say it. But from someone who doesn't have to say it, we have been so impressed and so encouraged and just feel like ThingLink is a partner. And are excited to use it every day. I don't know what I would do with myself if I couldn't use ThingLink in design and development. So I couldn't say enough nice things about how wonderful it's been working with you all.
Oh my goodness. Well, I think I can't really top that. I'll make sure that I'm going to clip that bit and send it to all of the team as well, to make sure that everybody hears that. And thank you to you all at home and work who've joined in. Apologies again for the time zone differences. Sorry, that's out of our hands, unless we can ask for those to be changed. Some really nice comments, like just coming through here as well, reiterating your comments about the support as well. So it's a goodbye from us. I hope you have a safe journey home wherever you are, and we look forward to welcoming you on our future webinars. Look out for the email that's coming your way. There's all the links, all the slides, and if you need anything else, just hit reply to my email, or of course, a lovely comment there coming through for Andrew as well, who's our other member of the team who provides the most amazing support. So it's a goodbye from us. So thank you everybody again for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you all again soon. Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you.
Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye. Hey.